All right, so by now you should have your like spontaneous video filmed. Hope you got some good shots. And now we're gonna focus on the edit. So, like I airdropped all my footage from here, and I always edit on an external hard drive. It's just, to me, it feels a little bit more responsible, like a little safer than keeping it on an internal drive. But before I get into like the actual mechanics of editing, a little Casey philosophy on editing. The edit is the hardest part. When somebody says to me, I shot a great movie, I just haven't edited it, my response is, you have nothing. You have nothing until the edit. Where we are right now is we went to the grocery store and we picked out all of our favorite ingredients, and we're back home at the kitchen. Just having those ingredients, just having all of our footage from our shoot does not mean we have a movie. The real art, the real skill, and the real storytelling comes in this process. To continue with my metaphor, your cooking of, your combining of, your putting together of all those ingredients is really what separates those who do from those who don't, from making something great, from just having a pile of footage. I take editing very seriously, and when I say that, when I say the word editing, what that means to me is not the technical part. It's not knowing the software. It's not knowing the effects and the filters. When I think of editing, editing to me is the writing. The actual writing takes place in the edit. If you think about the process we've gone through so far, there's this genesis moment of coming up with an idea. You take your idea, and then you find your angle. What about that idea can you turn into an actual story? You go out there and you shoot it, and in the process of shooting, you're finding your 3 acts. You're now back here, and you have all your parts. You have your understanding, your thought, what you think is going to be your 3 acts, and now is the time when you're putting them together. And like step 1, obviously, I'm gonna bring all that footage into the editing software. Now about editing software. I like when people ask me what I edit on about as much as I like when people ask me what I shoot on. I hate that question because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you use the free software that came pre-installed on your machine, or you're running like an elaborate professional Avid setup in a post-production facility. It doesn't matter. You can accomplish largely the same thing. Ready? This is the Janus collection of films. This is a Bible of some of the greatest movies made in the history of cinema. And for the most part, I would say almost every movie in here, we can take Jules and Jim, for example, French New Wave, Francois Truffaut, 1962. This movie was edited with scissors and Scotch tape. That will be the only reference to French New Wave for the rest of this curriculum. The point I'm trying to illustrate is that a lot of the new things that technology have enabled, a lot of the complexities of graphics and color correction, a lot of the things that you can do with this smart technology in front of us, that does not make you an editor. Knowing the mechanics of the software is just part of the process. It's like knowing how to open a paint can, stir it up, and dip the paintbrush in. It's what you do with that brush. It's what you're able to do with this software. It's how you're able to use the, my cooking analogy, how you're able to use like the saute pan in the stove that then yields the amazing meal, that then creates the brilliant painting, that then makes your story. I'm saying all that to diminish the importance of the technical aspects of editing. They don't matter. I don't care. What I care is what you do with it. So for that purpose, just like I shot this video on a phone to demonstrate the unimportance of gear, how this isn't what makes a great movie, but it's what you do with it that makes a great movie. For this purpose, I'm only going to use straight cuts. There's going to be nothing fancy here. This is the digital version of editing with scissors and tape, just like Truffaut. All right, now that I've said my piece about that, about which software I use. This is all up to user, but my favorite editing software without question is Adobe Premiere. I find it to be the most versatile. It's fantastic pro software. Been working on a feature for a couple of years now, and my whole team and I use Adobe. Great. My entire HBO series was edited in iMovie. iMovie is fantastic. It's free if you have an Apple computer, And you can go really far with that. I know a number of YouTubers, all who have more than 10 million subscribers, who only use iMovie. When I edit on my phone, I use a software called, it's called Splice. And it looks and feels more like kind of a desktop software. I like that. Works great. I use Final Cut Pro as well. I like the old Final Cut better, but besides the point, I do use Final Cut. Regardless, it really doesn't matter. You should even be able to follow along with me, even if you're on a different editing software than I am. For this video, I'm going to be using Final Cut because I just got this laptop and it's optimized for Final Cut. But again, don't dwell on the software. I think I've said that about 10 times now, and I meant it every time. OK, so let's open up software here. OK, so I'm opening a new library here. Again, to each his own. But for me, I'm keeping all this stuff on an external drive, just assuming that my computer is going to brick itself, because it loves to do that. Now, there are obviously ways you can organize the footage both within the software and on your storage device, on your hard drives. For this purpose, because I know that I shot that movie chronologically. You were with me, we were out there, I shot the intro, and then I'm like, what's next? It was shot chronologically. Therefore, I just put all of that footage into one folder, imported that one folder, and now all of these shots should be in order. And that is like kind of front-loading a little bit of the work. I actually did some of the edit in camera because I was shooting in order. I always try to shoot like that. I don't always achieve that. And with that, all of my footage here is captured in order. It is chronological, which dovetails nicely with my editing style. So step one, kind of rule number one for me, and almost without exception, no, without exception, I never break this rule, I edit chronologically. I said almost without exception. The only exception would be when I work with other editors, like my friend Max Joseph. He's the greatest editor I know. I've learned so much from him. He edits scene by scene. So those scenes, it doesn't matter where they take place. He edits all these scenes, and then he figures out how to put them together. My brain doesn't work like that. I have to edit chronologically. Almost always, when I'm done editing the first 10 seconds of a movie, of a video, that's how those 10 seconds will appear when I'm done with the video. And the reason for that is it enables me to have a really keen understanding of what the flow and the feel of the video is up until that point, which makes it super helpful to figure out what comes next, because I know what precedes that. I hope that makes sense. Let me show you. OK. All right, so I'm just kind of scrubbing. I'm looking for my opening shot here. What do I want the opening shot to say? I just want it to kind of hit you in the face with New York City. I want it to feel like New York City. Right, left. Those are counterfeit bags. Those are counterfeit bags right there. OK, so I thought I wanted to open this movie with kind of like a big establishing shot of Chinatown to set the stage. But as I'm scrubbing my footage here, now I'm thinking maybe I need to open this video with a little bit of a teaser, a little foreshadowing of what the story is to come. Kind of in like the world of clickbait. It's like showing you right off the bat something really interesting to grab your attention, so then you're willing to sit through sort of the narrative that brings you to whatever that subject matter is. This is not a prerequisite. This style of sort of giving a little bit of a clickbait at the beginning, it's not always necessary. In fact, some of like the best movies, some of probably your favorite movies have these like slower, more thoughtful openings. That works too. It really depends on your narrative. Me, I'm thinking here, and I'm thinking, okay, what is my story? My story is about buying counterfeit bags. Somebody tells me that line, like this is a story about counterfeit bags, I'm interested. So I want to deliver that piece of information as quickly as possible to the audience. Now, to just show you an example of something that doesn't follow this like clickbait off the bat style of opening your video, the first viral video I ever made. In 2003, I made this video. It's called iPod's Dirty Secret. And the intro is something much more thoughtful. It still grabs your attention. but there's no need, at least I didn't see a need in 2003 when I made this with my brother Van, to really like hit you over the head with what this whole movie is right off the bat. This is a more slower, thoughtful opening where you're not sure what you're looking at. You're hearing a voice over here that it's a phone dialing. Now this is engaging, this is interesting. I want to know what's to come, but this is something much slower, but it's equally compelling. There's a number of ways of approaching this, and I'm trying to identify for you why I'm using this method, this sort of device, this filmmaking device to start the movie. So with that, give me something that's interesting. I don't want to give the whole story away, but I want to pull you in. Okay, let's look at this shot. All right, I'm going to trim that up so it starts on movement. Okay, what's going through my head? A cop. Something's about to happen. What's about to happen? All right. What I was hoping is it would pan over and immediately reveal these counterfeit bag salesmen, but I don't know what I'm looking at here. If I'm the viewer and I don't know this story, I don't know what I'm looking at. Interesting, 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 fading, fading, interesting. What am I looking at? I don't know what I'm looking at. So I like my opening shot, but it's not enough. This is where this shot ends. Hands over, and I know those are the counterfeit bag salesmen right there, but I can't expect the viewer to know that. There's too much going on in this shot. So now what I'm looking for is a way to sell that moment. In that moment, what I want for that is just to land counterfeit bags. What? And then I can cut. And then I've got you. I pulled you in. So that's what I'm looking for right now. I'm trying to figure out how to deliver on that. Here's what I'm going to try to do here, and I don't know if this is going to work, but maybe I've got this pan over. Okay, NYPD, what am I looking at? Okay, this is interesting. Pan over, all right. Well, I see cars. How much are these, how much are the bags? Maybe that works. Maybe that's enough. So let me just clean this up a little bit. Technically, what you're seeing me do now is I'm trying to take these two shots and try to make them kind of organically flow into one another. I'm doing that by taking the audio from the second clip, laying it under the first clip, and by joining those two shots together, merging the audio a little bit, maybe I can make that first shot where you see the handbag salesman from afar. Maybe I can make sense of that by plugging in this shot that I actually got at a different time, but making it feel like it's all one moment. So here we go. There goes the cop car, swish pan back. What am I looking at? I see, how much are these, how much are the bags? Okay, I think that makes sense. How much are these? How much are the bags? Okay, this is a cop, so something, maybe something criminal. Swish pan over. All I see is this man's hands. By not seeing his face, he feels kind of mysterious. And then handbags on the ground of gritty Chinatown. Like, I'm seeing something here that I've never seen before. I'm seeing something here maybe I'm not supposed to see. I'm interested. I'm 10 seconds in, and I feel like I've delivered on some interestingness. Now I've got an opportunity to zoom all the way out. I say that figuratively. I will be zooming out in the footage, but I can zoom all the way out in my story. I can reset, and I can pull the audience in so we can get on the same page, and I can frame exactly what this story is that they're about to see. The next thing I need to do that, I need some music. Ready? Listen. Swish pan over. How much are these, how much are the bags? Bink! Bunk, 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 bunk. You see the Casey movie now? How much are these bags? Boom, the music hits. Without even opening my music folder, without thinking about the music, what do I want the music to represent right here? Let me listen again, Gritty, New York sounds. How much are these, how much are the bags? How much are the bags? There's a bag crinkling in the background. What am I looking at right here? What I see right here is like, oh, there's something going on here. Is this the famous counterfeit bag operation of New York City's Chinatown? Give me like a celebration. Give me like a excitement, maybe a little bit of mysteriousness in it. That is how I approach music. I first identify the emotion that music needs to convey, and then I search for the music. I never go in the opposite direction. I never let the music and the emotions that that music evoke sort of dictate the movie. I make the movie, I work on the movie, and then I think to myself, what is the emotion here? What's the emotion that I'm feeling that I can further with music? If I were to put something maybe a little bit ominous or scary under here, then I'm preparing the audience for something maybe a little bit ominous, maybe a little bit scary, maybe a little bit serious. This is not a serious movie. This is a stupid movie. It's funny. I buy a fake Louis bag. So I need like that kind of sardonicism, that casualness, that sort of jovial sentiment, all of that to be conveyed in the first 5 frames of this song. In the first beat you hear, I need to make sure the audience understands that we're about to do something fun together. That's where my brain is, and only now do I try to find that song. I know exactly what I'm looking for. I just have to find it. Now, when I need music, I open up a folder on my hard drive called Music. Most of these artists are musicians that I found on SoundCloud or through my networks, and they're willing to let me use their music. I reach out and get permission and do everything by the books, but this is my personal catalog. Now, there's a whole internet at your disposal, and if you're willing to put in the work, it's a great way to discover music that maybe is right for you. Now, because today this exercise is just about making the best video possible, telling the best story possible, there's another option, which is use whatever music you want. If you need to stick a Beatles song in there to best tell your story, then use a Beatles song. Just understand that that means you won't be able to monetize it. You know, where you can put it on the internet will be limited, but you'll still have a video that you're proud of and you can share with you know, your friends and family, which again is the goal of what we're doing today. Another option, and this is a popular option for very smart reasons, you can subscribe to an online music catalog. There are music catalogs online where you can like pay per download. And that way you're sort of formally entering into an agreement to use this music that you paid for in some capacity in your video. And forever, for the term of that agreement, you don't have to worry about any rights issues, any intellectual property issues. The music's yours. So that's kind of the spectrum of ways you can find music. And as casually as I just went through that, I don't want to diminish how difficult it is to find the right song. I hear so often, like, Casey, you always pick the right song. I appreciate that. It's never easy. Sometimes I'll spend hours or days just going through songs, trying to find something that hits on that emotion that I need to communicate via the music. It's never easy to find the song, and your song can make or break your story. So let's find that song. Now remember, here's where I left things. How much are these? How much are the bags? Boom. I need it to hit. I know what I'm looking for. This is literally what I do. I've spent hundreds of hours doing this exact thing you're about to see. Ready? Click spacebar. Lets me preview the song. That's not the right tone. That's wrong. Why is that wrong? I listened to that for half a second. Why is that wrong? What's the first emotion that comes to you? Ready? Again? What's the emotion? What's the emotion? Less. Ready? What's the emotion? For me, loving, soft, kindness, nostalgia, gentle. I see a baby sleeping right now. I see your cat Fluffy curled up in a little ball by the fireplace. What I don't see is a dude selling counterfeit handbags on Canal Street. Next song. What'd you get? I got sincerity. I got earnestness. I got me telling the story of my best friend and how he and I won the lacrosse tournament in 7th grade. That's what came to me for that song. Digital, weird. Like, this is cool, this is funky. I'm exploring, I'm figuring something out. This is sort of quizzical, explanatory. That's where I go with that. Those are all great ideas, great emotions conveyed by that song. None of them are the emotion that I'm looking for. Next song. Maybe. It's a little bit. Almost. Let me walk you through that. Ready? The first beat wasn't a yes. The first beat was a maybe. There's this thing in dating, in love, in romance, where you don't know in the first 5 minutes when you meet somebody if that's the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. But you always know in the first 5 minutes of meeting that somebody if that's not the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. That's true in dating, and that's true with music. This, I wasn't sure if it's the right one, but I also don't know if it's the wrong one. But it gets a little soft here. It gets a little gentle here. It's a little too sweet. Next song. This is funny. There's something humorous about this. Nope. Nope. It went flat. This is interesting. It's a little sarcastic. I picture like two cartoon characters here beating each other up with a 2x4. Ooh, it's a little... This could work. I don't know if it'll work. So right now, I don't know if this is the song, but the other thing I don't know if this isn't the song. The previous 5 songs, I know they're not the song. This one has a chance. I'm gonna plug it in. And now I'm gonna kind of, not gonna look at the screen, I'm not gonna watch this shot, I'm gonna hear it. How much are the bags? Does it sound good? Does it sound fun? Does it sound interesting? And I think the answer is yes. Now I'm gonna watch it. What's going on here? How much are the bags? Yeah, we might have something. All right, so I've got my song in there and I really like it. Now, where I am in the story is that I have to start the story. I've given you this teaser. Like, if I'm writing a book, this is sort of the preface, or maybe this is the cover, the photo on the cover. This is to let you know kind of what's coming, but I haven't actually begun the story in earnest yet. I need a shot to do that. Now, when we were out in the street, I picked this shot right here as what I had assumed would be like the opening shot. Like when we were in the street, I intended for this shot to be the shot with which I put text over. But I don't see this shot coming next, mainly because of the ambiguity of these 2 shots, meaning neither of these shots explain what's going on or offer clarity to what's going on. For me to put a 3rd shot after that that also furthers that ambiguity, I'm not sure that that would help make sense. I love this shot because I can time-lapse this. I hate this shot because it's all overexposed. This shot being overexposed, I think, is a good illustration of the battle that is the storyteller, the filmmaker, and getting to that story. This is an obstruction. I'm at war with cameras. The microphone not working on this, the lens attachment broken on this. This shot, which I really need, being totally overexposed. This will always happen. I've never gotten to a place in my own career where I can avoid these sort of pitfalls. So now it's just about kind of overcoming them. So let me see what I can do here. You know, in a perfect world, this exposure is fantastic, and I'm able to speed this up. But if you look, like all this white just means it's blown out. There's no information there. It really kind of makes this shot a lot less compelling. Let me see if I can make it work anyway. Okay, so I just sped it up as a little time lapse. To the bags. You see what I'm going for there? It's not there yet, but you can see what I'm going for. So even though this shot is totally overexposed and I hate it because it's overexposed, I'm gonna make it work. And the lesson here is just that I don't think that any one shot matters that much. Like, this movie is about communicating a story. It's about communicating ideas. This is not KhoaHocVoCuc. This is not, this will never win an Oscar for Best Cinematography or anything like that. So therefore, as long as the image communicates what I'm looking for it to communicate, even though it's not very sexy and technically it's kind of a garbage shot, it still works. And you know what? Nobody's gonna care. Okay, so then the next thing I explore is how long does this shot need to be? I'm gonna let the music determine that. because this shot doesn't necessarily have a beginning, middle, or an end, because I'm adjusting the speed on it, you know, it could be 40 seconds, it could be 8 seconds. So let me let the music determine that. Where in this song would be an appropriate place for me to then come up, for me to enter the frame and me to interrupt the music. So I'm gonna listen and I'm gonna find that. I'm going to edit the song. The song is not giving me the place where I want to cut it, so I'm going to make the song give me where I want to cut it. Listen. That. Just give me that twice. I'm cutting the song, copying that piece, taking the rest of the song, just throwing it over here. Okay, putting it there. Back it up a little bit. Let's see if it works. Doesn't work. That didn't work. That didn't work. It was a good idea, it just didn't work. Sometimes it works. Now I have to rethink it again. Okay, that didn't work. Where? There. Not there. There. That's where I can interrupt that song. Ready? This is what the interruption is going to look like. This isn't working. Why am I putting so much emphasis on this? Why does this matter so much? Well, it matters because you're 16 seconds into my little story here. And if after 10 seconds, I haven't given you something that feels compelling, if I'm expecting you, the viewer, to come on this journey with me, let's say this movie is going to be 3 minutes long, 5 minutes long, whatever. If I'm asking for 5 minutes of your time, I need to let you know that it's going to be fun, it's going to be compelling, it's going to be interesting. And if I can't hit that right out of the gates, then why should you, the viewer, have the confidence in this story to continue watching? That's why this matters. And that's why I'll dwell on this for like days to get it right. We don't have days, so let me figure this out. Okay, still like this. It's all about where that song dribbles off. Maybe right here. Maybe right here. I'm gonna cut the song there. So let me just explain real quick. What I tried to do and fail is I tried to have the music like na 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 na, and it fades down as I come up. Na 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 na, and then my voice comes in, this smooth transition. That didn't work. I'm gonna try a crash transition now, where the songs, the sounds, the oral experience, they just smash into each other. This is like, sometimes you try to match. I'm wearing all black today. And if you're not matching, you got to clash. You go with like black and purple. No relationship. Matching works and clashing works. So now, let me see if I can make this sort of crash transition work. Stretching that out a little bit, bring that back up. Kill the audio here. Soften this right here. When I'm adjusting these, like, this is just a way to prevent clipping. Like, sometimes if you edit audio, it has like this snap at the beginning of every shot. All right, so this is me now seeing if this like crash transition of the audio works, because a smooth transition didn't. How much of the bag? This is new. No, it didn't work, but I think it could work. I think the placement in the song is what didn't work. So let me try, if I bring that crash to this part in the song, maybe that will work. This is New York. It's not satisfying enough. And now I'm at a place where I'm thinking maybe I need a whole different song. I'm doubting the song altogether. I hate this place because like finding the song is so hard. This song makes me happy. This is that a flute? It makes me feel good. It's the right emotion, but I can't make this work. Now it's like self-doubt. I'm 15 seconds into this video. I can't make sense of it. Right now, I'm literally like, you know what I need? I just need to get up and go get a cup of coffee. I need to call Sam next door so we can talk about skateboards. My brain is searching for any excuse to quit right now because I can't overcome this tiny, tiny thing. This is New York City. Wait a minute. Did you see what I just did? Did that make any sense to you? Did you notice anything there? Because I went from not having it to having it. This is... It needs some finessing. This is New York City. Maybe I don't have it. Maybe I don't have it. Maybe I don't have it. This is New York. No, I think I've got it. Let me increase the level on that. This is New York. The difference between me being frustrated and wanting to go get a donut and it working was just a matter of a couple of frames. I imagine I'm sounding maybe like someone right now who is a little bit nuts about this stuff, and because I am, and you may not have even noticed what I just did, but what I just saw that I couldn't see before, what I just found that I couldn't find before, was this fluidity, this like, I needed the song to tee up what I'm about to say. I needed the song to give me a pedestal from which to jump the video off from, and I couldn't figure that out. And I maybe thought it wasn't even the song, but it turns out it was just a beat in the song. And if you rewind this lesson and watch that back, you might still think that I didn't even change anything, but this is like the intangible part of this process. It's so difficult to articulate. This is the part of the process that relies 100% on intuition. And in my struggle to articulate for you why this works now, but it didn't 2 minutes ago, I go back to just, it didn't feel right before. I didn't know what it was. I moved some things around, and now it feels right. That's not a satisfying explanation, but what that explanation is my intuition says that this is right, and it wasn't right before. Now I'm gonna throw some text up over this time lapse because I think that that's funny. I wanna follow through with the kind of the joke. I want the audience to know that this is a playful movie, not a serious one. The music communicates that. I communicate that when you actually see my face, but let me just drive that home. Let me just sell this right now so there's no doubt to the viewer that what they're about to see is a funny little adventure with me and nothing more. So what do I want to call this movie? I don't like to get creative with my titles. I think that filmmaking itself, storytelling, is creativity at its core. So the idea that maybe the font you choose is an expression of creativity, I don't subscribe to that. I almost only use Helvetica, and the reason why I do that is because it's the default. And by seeing the default, my hope is that when people see that, it shows that no thought was put into what font I use. The font is not an expression of creativity. It's just there to serve a purpose. Plain. I like plain, and that's my choice here with the font. All right, so now what does it say? I think a straightforward, kind of sarcastic title that's subtle. Maybe something that evokes like a travel video. So let me try counterfeit handbag shopping. Counterfeit handbag shopping. Counterfeit handbag shopping. Okay, so this is the title of my movie, Counterfeit Handbag Shopping with Casey Neistat. And again, like, look, there's something funnier I could have written. There's a joke that could be done here, but this sort of like wry sense of humor is pretty close to my sense of humor. And I like the idea that someone might read this and then ask themselves, wait, is this serious or is this a joke? I like that there's this sort of weird sense of ambiguity here where you're like, what? It also does feel like one of those maybe bad travel shows. Counterfeit handbag shopping with Casey Neistat. All right, now technically, because this shot's all blown out, you can't read my text, so I don't know how to fix that. I guess I could bring the brightness down in this shot. Does that work, or is that too dark? Let's see. That kind of worked. Let's see. Let me just take that darkness and make both shots that level of darkness.
This is New York.
Now I gotta cut before you hear me talk.
This is New York. This is New.
What I'm trying to do here is I just want this to feel good. And what that means is when you watch it back, like the way the graphics come in and out, by graphics I mean like this super rudimentary title here, the way that sort of drops out, the way that pops, I want it to be satisfying, a satisfying experience. A good example of that is like a music video or a movie trailer, like that wham, bam, fast that takes you. That's a really satisfying thing to watch. And I'm trying to evoke a little bit of that here. No. Maybe I had it right. I know what it is.
This is New York City.
Well, that felt right.
For these, how much are the bags? This is New York City's Chinatown.
I don't know why. Now it feels right. That felt good. Now, when we were shooting this, I was repositioning myself in the frame of the camera a lot. I was doing that with real intent. And that intent was, so when I got to the edit, I would have places where I could cut. To cut within the same frame, meaning if this is the shot and there are jump cuts in here, it feels a little bit weird. But if you jump from me being close to the camera to me being further away, it feels very natural. They feel like two different shots. That's what I was hoping to achieve.
City's Chinatown.
I'm gonna cut right there. I'm looking away. That's an action. I can cut on that action. And when I come back, I can be repositioned. And for whatever reason, that just kind of makes sense in your brain when you're watching it back.
Chinatown is known for a number of things, but Chinatown is known for its great food and nice people and other weird stuff, but it's also known for its counterfeit handbag and Rolex.
So I delivered this line a bunch of times to my phone. I think I did it 4 times. The reason why I did that is I wasn't sure like what the tone of the film was going to be. So I said it once fast, I said it once slow. And now what I'm doing is I'm watching those options back, trying to figure out which best suits the film as it's cut, as it's sort of teed up right now, which best suits this moment.
Chinatown is known for a number of things. Chinatown is known for its great food and nice people and other weird stuff, but it's also known as the place you go in the city when you want to buy a counterfeit Rolex or handbag or something. And that's what I'm going to be doing today. Chinatown is known for its...
Now look. That's a pretty aggressive exposure adjustment there. All this complaining that I've been doing about how this shot's so overexposed. This shot's also overexposed, but then I expose it correctly here. Now that's not a big deal if I were to cut between the two, but because I have this, that's me adjusting the exposure. Why not use that? Why not sort of show that I'm changing the exposure? I'm doing it on purpose. Now, the majority of the people that would ever see this video, the majority of the audience might not know what exposure is. They might not understand what I'm doing. But by showing that change, this background here going from white to filled in with color, it's an illustration that I'm acknowledging this change took place. It's a way of letting the audience know that like, hey, I just kind of made this thing myself and I'm acknowledging that. And I think 99.9% of the people who see this, it just goes right over their head. But again, it feels right. If you're viewing this, just kind of, that feels good. I don't need to think about that. That just feels good. If there was a cut and it went from this shot to this shot, that might not feel as good. What happened? Is this a different shot? Are we in a different place? Because the colors look different. So that was an accident. This was not done with intent, but I think I can make use of this. And let's see.
New York City's Chinatown.
Okay, I said a second ago that me turning my head was a great place to cut. But because the next shot doesn't start with me turning my head, now it feels weird. To make these two shots kind of flow into one another, I'm using an audio underlay. So I'm taking a bit of the audio from the first clip, putting it under the second clip, so you're going to still hear the first clip while you're seeing the second clip. And what that should accomplish is it should just feel smooth, like one flowing into another to the point where you don't notice it. The best edits are the ones you don't notice. Okay, see if this works.
New York City's Chinatown. Chinatown is known.
I think that worked. I think I could lose a couple of frames here, perhaps. Let's see.
This is New York City's Chinatown. Chinatown is known for its great food and nice people and other weird stuff, but it's also known for its counterfeit handbag and Rolex.
I'm too slow. I'm watching this and I'm like, get to the point, talking guy. Like, speed it up, Casey. You're losing me. So let me see what other options I have to go a little faster.
And that's what I'm going to be doing today. Today is also known as the place you go.
Okay, I like that.
This is New York City's Chinatown. Chinatown is known for its great food and nice people, and this is New York City, also known for its. But it's also known.
Let's see if that worked.
It's known for its great food and nice people, but it's also known.
So that's kind of a weird jump cut. You see, I'm going from here to here. I'm not in the same place in the frame. It's a little bit awkward, but I like what I'm saying. So the words, the audio, the monologue there makes sense, but the imagery doesn't. Let me see if I can adjust this. So again, I think I'm just going to go by laying the audio of the first clip underneath the second clip. By making my words flow into one another, maybe I can sort of get the audience to ignore that, to not even notice that, because the audio is so seamlessly woven together. Maybe not. When I click that spacebar and it plays, I know if I succeeded or failed, and that's true for every action within the edit.
And nice people, but it's also known as the place you go in the city when you want to buy a counterfeit Rolex or handbag or something like that.
I babble off there, which I don't like.
This is technically criminal, but I think it's going to make for a good video. Is that funny?
The substance of what I'm saying here works. This is a great sort of layup for this movie, but the problem is this same shot and me yapping is 24 seconds. I'm not interesting enough, and what I'm saying is not interesting enough to hold anyone's attention for 24 seconds. I need to break this up.
Place you go in the city when you want to buy a counterfeit Rolex or handbag or something like that.
I think that's my entry and exit point right there. So I need to break it up. I need to put something else in there. I like this clip. I know this clip. Let's see what this feels like.
Those are counterfeit bags. Those are counterfeit bags.
All right, what I'm attempting to do here is interrupt me talking by showing you what I'm talking about. And this is sort of a bit of a non sequitur, this edit. There's no preface for this edit. There's no context. It just sort of jumps from me talking to showing you something. Then I should be able to bring it back to me talking.
Bag or something like that. Those are counterfeit bags right there.
I've got an idea. What if I use this horn honking audio to interrupt myself, and then I cut away? Let's see. I think this could work.
Something like that. Those are counterfeit bags.
I think I like this. I think that works. It serves its purpose, and I know that that's the best I can do with that right there. What I don't know is if I actually need all of this. I don't know how important all of this is. When that's the case, I just sort of push ahead. I keep steamrolling ahead, because when the movie's done, maybe within the context of this film in its entirety, I say what I'm trying to literally say right here. So it will diminish the importance of this initial scene, and I'll be able to trim it down later once I've finished everything else. But for now, I need this. So even though I lack some confidence in this, I'm going to keep pushing ahead.
Something like that. Those are counterfeit bags right there. And that's what I'm going to be doing today. Today is the day I'm going to buy a counterfeit handbag. That's a redundant statement. This is English class 101 with Casey. Ready? I say, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. Today is the day I'm saying the same thing twice. That's what I'm going to be doing today. Today I'm going to be. Elements of Style, great book.
opening of that book says omit needless words. And that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm trimming off the bit where I say, and that's what I'm gonna do today. And let's see.
Counterfeit bag right there. Today is the day I'm gonna buy a counterfeit handbag. Is that funny?
Okay, so that works. The only trouble is, look, at the end of this frame, I kind of jerk my head like that. See that? That doesn't work because I need to cut away. Let me just hide that. I'm gonna hide that by going like this. I'm still gonna leave the audio intact, but I'm hiding the image. Ready?
Handbag. Is that funny? You think that's funny?
No one's expecting that cut. No one's expecting me to grab the camera in this moment. You hear me say, you see me say, is that funny? So as far as the story goes, as far as the storytelling here goes, everything's felt very deliberate up until this point. I'm delivering these lines straight to camera. You can tell these lines are calculated. You can tell I'm saying these things with real intent. You know that this is part of the structure of the film. Up until this moment, you think you understand what the movie is you're about to see. Me talking to camera, explaining what's going on. And then watch, it shifts. That all changes the second I grab this camera. Ready?
Handbag. Is that funny? You think that's funny? It's funny.
It just changed. Like the whole tone of the movie just changed in that one cut. And like serious Casey was putting on this face, and that's what I'm gonna be doing today, buying a counterfeit handbag. Something happened in the real world, and I just turned into real me. And now I'm talking to a stranger. It's a fun conversation. You're the viewer, you're like, oh, okay, I know this video. I know where we're going with this. This is fun, sign me up. Yeah, let's buy ourselves a counterfeit handbag. I've now got the audience along with me, ready to go for this ride, and the ride is my 3.5-minute movie about buying a counterfeit handbag. Now, to further that playfulness, I want to bring back in the music. And by bringing back in the music, I'm doing a number of things. I'm accomplishing a number of things. Paramount there is just letting the audience know that, like, here we go. The movie is now going to begin.
Handbag. Is that funny? You think that's funny? It's funny. Okay.
You see that? I faded it up.
You got any advice for me?
I say to this, let me kill the music there. I say to this woman, like, is that funny? She says, yes.
It's funny.
She nods her head.
Okay. You got any advice for me?
Okay, then I ask her, do you have any advice for me? That's great. That has relevance in this movie. But I also remember asking this guy,
about how to buy a counterfeit.
Do you have any relevance for me? I don't need two people telling me the same thing. That's the same sort of joke. This idea of asking somebody, a total stranger, on the street, how do I buy a counterfeit handbag? Like, it's a funny thing to do. Can't do it twice. Now, the magic of this shot is in its spontaneity, its unexpectedness. That's what I want to focus on in this shot, is that unexpectedness. The substance of the conversation I have with this woman is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's the spontaneousness. It's that spontaneity of me being like, is that funny? And now I'm talking to this woman. We're both laughing. Two strangers having a nice time. It's pleasant. It's fun. Let's go. That's what I need to communicate. Therefore, what's the minimum amount of dialogue? What's the minimum amount of time I can have her on screen before the joke lands and I can move on? I think it's when she says yes after I say, is that funny?
Handbag. Is that funny? You think that's funny? It's funny. Okay.
I think that's it. Is that funny? Yes. Okay, that's funny. Okay. And then I sort of...
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That thank you is good too. Let me see if I can make that work in there.
It's funny. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I don't know if that works, but I do know if it does work, it's only going to work because of the music. Let me bump up the levels on this music so it's a little bit louder, because the music's a little soft at the onset. And then let me soften it coming in by sort of fading it up.
Funny? You think it's funny? It's funny. Okay.
Is it funny? I'm laughing, I'm shaking my head, she's laughing, and all of a sudden this funny, fun, playful music starts to enter the scene.
Handbag. Is that funny? You think it's funny? It's funny. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Hear that bass line come in? That wasn't an accident. Let's watch it back again.
It's funny. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
The question is the placement. This is what it looks like if I lose me saying the word okay. And I'm worried.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm putting that back in there. This may feel like an insignificant thing, but here's why I'm putting it back in. If I cut right after she says you're welcome,
You're welcome.
I'm looking away from her. The back of my head is towards her. This makes me feel like maybe I was a little bit rude to her or didn't appreciate her, this stranger. But by me saying okay, it diffuses that. It shows that this conversation is over and I'm just kind of walking away. It shows a kind of playfulness. This is getting crazy nuanced, and this is deep in the weeds of sort of human behavior and psychology here. But this is why, when I make movies that are kind of about me, I'm the one who has to edit them. Because I know that I'm not a rude guy. I know that I would never walk away from someone mid-conversation, and I know that's not what happened. We had this funny conversation, it was over, and we kind of went our separate ways. So the most accurate depiction of me here is to end on something that's playful and not in a way that could be misinterpreted as maybe me being a little bit rude. All of that may have been lost on you, and it should have been. This is what happens after years and years of editing this and just trying to really drill in on capturing the essence of both my personality and the energy that was transpiring in this scene as it played out in the real world. This is where I'm landing.
Handbag. Is that funny? You think that's funny?
Yeah.
It's funny. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I say okay with this goofy face, and I'm smiling, I'm laughing, I'm having a good time. I'm again reinforcing the idea, this is not a serious movie, this is a fun movie. I'm about to do something maybe a little bit against the rules. Come along with me, let's see what happens.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
What now? Where do I go now? Let me reassess. What do I have so far? I've got this intriguing opening scene that's interesting, that's compelling. I've got me approaching this man who's selling the handbags. I've got a title, Counterfeit Handbag Shopping. You know, the viewer knows what this movie is. Then I sort of break that wall and I show that this is not a crafted movie, but look, I'm embracing my surroundings and showing this woman. Okay, that's a really dense delivery of a lot of information there. I need to let the viewer catch their breath. On top of that, the music. Now I've got this sick beat. The music's hit. I want to let you hear this song. A song is never a sound bed for me. Sound beds, I don't like that. A sound bed is just something to take up noise under someone else talking or under something else. This is not a sound bed. This is a song, and I want you to feel it. I also need to let the audience digest all of that information communicated in the preceding 43 seconds. So those opening establishing shots that I thought would be the opening of this movie, and didn't use them as the opening of this movie, this is where they're gonna go now, I think. So let me go back and find those opening shots. Let's see what I have here. I love it. Love it. Hip-hop jewelry, love it. Whatever this is, whatever this is, whatever this is, this. And then I can land on this. All right, so that I just dragged in there. What is that, 8 or 9 different shots? Now I'm gonna try and make them work. The one that I wanna open with is this hip-hop jewelry shop, because I don't even know what hip-hop jewelry means, and that's interesting to me. And also this song has a bit of a beat to it, so there's a little bit of a see-say here because I'm seeing the words hip-hop and I'm hearing a beat. That's always satisfying. Let's see how long I can tolerate this shot.
Okay.
It's not working. Look, it goes from me talking and then listen to this song. Ready?
Okay.
There's 2 beats. I want those 2 beats. I want to see. I want to literally see those 2 beats. Ready? I will now show those 2 beats. These are throwaway shots. This shot of a license plate, how long are you willing to stare at that shot for before it stops becoming interesting? For me, I don't have a second for that shot. It's not interesting. But where it becomes interesting is how it's used. And how I'm going to use it is nothing but sort of a placeholder, a check mark.
Okay.
See that?
Okay.
I need something for that 3rd beat, and I don't have it. What I wish I had here is me going from filming this New York City license plate to like moving it away, and I don't have that.
Okay.
Gotta cut, I gotta cut. Keep this story going. So what I'm doing now, let me try and use this hip-hop shot. The goal is when the next beat hits is when this person enters frame, so.
Okay.
I think that that works. More people are walking. Yeah, that's a better shot.
You're welcome.
Okay.
That works. So what this is this is a transitional montage. This is a montage of shots that are furthering what the environment looks like that I'm currently in. Beyond that, it doesn't serve any purpose. These shots are not necessarily informational. They're not communicating anything beyond establishing our environment. Therefore, I have absolute liberty to cut these down. Like this initial shot right here, this shot is 8 frames long. That's 1/3 of 1 second. And that's all it needs to be up there for. Watch. What? You can read the word Manhattan in 1/3 of a second.
Okay.
I don't need it any more than that. I'll let hip hop jewelry sit longer because there's an action. See this couple walking through the frame right here? That's an action point. That's something for your eye to focus on. You finish reading hip hop jewelry, you don't care anymore, but somebody's walking through a frame. That gives me permission to hold on this shot just a little bit longer. Now, what I want to do here is, this shot's sort of hard to see. It's kind of hard to make sense of what you're looking at here. What you're actually looking at is a ski mask that has the Wu-Tang Clan logo on its forehead. I don't know if people are going to get that, but I think it's cool. It works if I cut right here, because again, what is it communicating? It's showing the environment. By cutting away so quickly, what that communicates to the viewer is that, one, the image is not that important. What's more important to convey here is this sort of sense of momentum and the funness and the satisfying feeling that comes with a sequence that's cut really well to the beat. Okay, so now this sequence, this montage is 3 seconds long. I need an out. I need to get out of here. 3 seconds is 4 seconds, maybe 5 seconds. It's enough. The song's not that great. These images aren't that compelling. I need to get out of here. What I was trying to accomplish of providing a transition to the next scene, to the next act, to act 2, has been accomplished. So get me out of here. I want to use this shot to do that.
Okay.
Okay, so if you listen, there's a hi-hat here where the beat goes from sort of low, and then all of a sudden you hear like a t-t-t. Listen. I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try to speed this clip up now, use that hi-hat as my entry point for this time lapse, and use the time lapse to sort of thrust me into the second act. For this time lapse, I actually held the camera with my hand, which is the biggest no-no, because no matter how steady you hold it, when you speed it up, those little movements are gonna be accentuated, and it's gonna look like this. So maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but let's have a see. I like that. I wish I was holding the shot steadier. Now I can try something that almost never works, which is clicking a little button called stabilize. I'm using a digital stabilizer here. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. It's always okay to use. Just never depend on this. If you're in the field shooting something, never say to yourself, well, I can just stabilize this in post. Let's see if this worked. Look how steady that is. Sometimes these digital effects actually work, and that's one of those cases. Okay, so let's recap. I'm now 50 seconds into this movie. This effectively is where Act 1 ends. And that feels like a good place for us to kind of pause this edit. I think we've built some good momentum. I've explained a lot here. That was a really dense amount of information. And take that, start your edit. Remember a couple of critical rules. Number 1 being story is king. Make sure everything you do is at the behest of that story. Don't be afraid to throw away shots, even if you love them, if they don't benefit the story. Good luck. This is the scariest part. There's nothing harder than 0 to 1 in the edit, but dive into it, and I will see you at our next lesson when I'm gonna finish my edit and turn what's left of random footage of me on my cell phone in Lower Manhattan into a movie that I think should be fun. I will see you soon.